Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast. This is the Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trader Cobb Crypto Show. Hope you're having a great day. Today, we have a different guest in Neil Dundon. Now, Neil is the founder of Crypto Recruit, which is the world's first blockchain and crypto recruitment company. Absolutely wonderful having him on the show because he'll give us a very different insight to what many of the other guests have, because Neil has a very different perspective. So, Neil, thanks very much for being with us today, mate.
Thanks, Craig. Glad to be here.
And something else with Neil is that he's actually a fellow Bondi resident too, aren't you, mate?
I am indeed. Yeah, we're just a few hundred meters apart, I believe, yeah?
Yeah, I've got an office here in Edgecliff at the moment, but we are not too far away at all. Now, Neil, if you wouldn't mind, I mean, I've given you a very brief of introductions. If you could let us know a little bit about yourself, Crypto Recruit, how you've come to this space and what you're trying to achieve, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, you know, a pretty standard career. Came out to Australia. I'm Irish. You can probably hear from my accent. Came out here 14 years ago. Loved the weather. Pretty much decided quickly enough that I was going to stick around. Ended up by accident getting into recruitment back then. And then after about 3 years of working with a local agency, I went out and set my own recruitment firm up, which was recruiting salespeople. So we were a specialist sales recruiter. So I've been doing that for quite a while. Then I got into doing education. We were an education brokerage for a few years, which complemented the recruiting side of things. And then about 2 years ago, I ended up investing in crypto. A friend of mine who'd been in crypto since kind of 2011 introduced a coin to us. And, you know, we were listening to him. We'd heard that he'd done pretty well. And we figured, let's give it a go. And we'd have a go, me and my business partner at the time. And we invested in this particular coin. And we saw it shoot up. And we kind of went, this is serious business. So that got me into investing in the space. And like, I think like a lot of people, after you make your first investment, it's only afterwards that you start to go, well, what's going on here? What's the underlying tech that's driving the price up? Why are people so interested in it? And then begin to read about it and understand the whole concept of decentralization, which is something, you know, that I've really can relate to, and that's why, and so many people in the world can relate to it now. So I'm not going to go through the whole cheesy, you know, line that everyone uses. We all believe, well, anyone who's in blockchain, it believes in decentralization for the positive good that it can bring to the world. And that's kind of what drove me into shifting my recruitment business over into cryptocurrency recruiting. So this was about September last year, and that's pretty much brings me up to where we are right now.
Excellent. So I got to ask, I mean, everyone's sitting there thinking about it. All the listeners are thinking, what was the token?
We got into Dash. We got into Dash at about, I think it was about $8 at the time. Yeah, it still holds a lot of Dash. You know, I'm not much of I don't invest that much. I'm more of or trade that much even. I'm more of an investor with the occasional trade. If you get a bit of good news or I get something from yourself, Craig, you know, showing some good handles or cups or whatever you call them.
We avoid the old cups and handles, but I hear you loud and clear. It's quite funny that you say about, you know, the people that invest then get into the tech and actually understand what's going on behind it, because it's a little bit of the tail wagging the dog for many people. And we need to get our foot in the door. And when we get our foot in the door, we sort of look beyond that little crack that we've made with our foot and we go, holy Jesus, look at what is there. So, I mean, from your point of view of being in recruitment, obviously now in sort of blockchain recruitment, the sort of people, I mean, you've been there at the forefront, i.e. you are the first recruitment company of the industry that is officially out there. I mean, have you seen it change? I mean, what sort of people are you seeing coming across now? Is it your technical sort of people that, you know, that have got beards, neck beards, and, you know, they sort of hang in dark spaces? Or are we seeing a real sort of move into the professional world and era for this space?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a very gradual process at the moment, but what I do find is that people who are looking to come in are just super passionate about it. They just want a way into working in blockchain or crypto. It's such an engaged subject matter at the moment. So you are at that point, where you've got your critics and your skeptics out there who just probably there's a bunch of people who'll never come into blockchain. Your old school type who will stay in the banks and stay doing their traditional and will almost scoff at you for going to blockchain because they just think it's some kind of game for kids who just want to speculate, but they don't. These are the people who haven't researched what the technology can do. The people who understand what the technology can do, and it's still a small portion of the population at the moment, those guys and girls are super passionate about it and want to come on over. So it's a super engaged audience, and then there are more and more. I've seen even in the last 6 months, I mean, if you look at my inbox and LinkedIn and the amount of people that are coming in proactively asking crypto recruit for jobs is very interesting. Its inbox is pretty much flooded all the time. So
wow,
yeah,
that's great.
You are getting traditional people, bankers. Well, we recruit globally, so I get people in Wall Street, working for some of the big banks, just putting the feelers out to me, asking what's going on, have you got anything for me, those types of questions. So they're really just exploratory questions at the moment, but you can tell that they're getting ready to make the jump. They want to be ready, the smart ones, like the internet was in the early days.
Yes, I understand. So look, I mean, obviously, you talk about the passion of the people that are getting involved. We know that anybody who's been in the crypto sphere for long enough understands that there is a huge amount of passion for a lot of people in the space. We're starting to see a little bit more of the, the capitalist view come in. From your point of view, I mean, we've got these passionate people coming to you right now. What motivates these people? What is the motivating factor behind the passion of the people that are coming to you?
Well, with developers, for example, there's different motivations for different people, but I think a lot of developers, there's a lot of very ethical developers out there who want to get in. I mean, they're always going to think about money because that's a driving force, understandable. People got families to take care of, kids to look after, they need to make money. That's understandable. But I think in the developer community, you'll find there's a lot of them who want to do it for a pure passion of what it does, how it's changing the world. They're seeing the bigger picture. How blockchain is changing the world, and they want in for those reasons. And the smart, and because they're smart too, because they probably understand that it's like the internet was in the early 90s. And smart people understand that first mover advantage. If they get in early, their employers are going to treat them better. It's just the way the world works. People will be loyal to those who come in and embrace it early. So on the developer side, that's a motivating factor. On the executive level side, for the likes of CEOs, CIOs, CFOs, that kind of stuff, similar principles. I mean, they're not building the projects, but they are managing the businesses, and they want to get in early. They're the smart ones again, can see that there's a huge potential in blockchain. There's still some risk involved there, and that's why we're not getting the whole market coming on over to blockchain, because there are still some uncertain times. But you will find that, people are coming in for mainly those reasons, because they see the bigger picture. So I think at the moment it's just an education piece for people. They need to understand, and we all need to do our part as blockchain enthusiasts ourselves in educating the next person, and it just becomes exponential. And as knowledge permeates throughout the population, you'll find that more people will come into the industry.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I noted before, you said that your inbox is filling up very, very quickly. Now, we've had news of Goldman Sachs coming out and officially putting their hand up and saying that they have a blockchain expert, or whatever the title they've given this individual. Now, with Goldman Sachs having come in and putting their stamp of approval, so to speak, in the space, have you seen a great degree of, I guess, reaching out? You did say that some of the bigger banks and some of the bigger players had been in touch with you. Has this been a result, do you think, of the Goldman Sachs declaration that they're entering the market?
Look, I mean, Goldman Sachs are obviously very powerful and very influential. So I wouldn't know exactly, but I'll certainly ask the question going forward. What is? I need to probably do a little bit more research on a specific level with some of these people and ask them why. Straight questions. Why are they reaching out to me now? Absolutely, Goldman Sachs is influential, so it's going to have people perking up and listening, and that could absolutely be part of the reason. But I mean, there's just this dissemination of information going around now at the moment, and people are learning. You know, I've no doubt that you're finding people are going to the bars on Wall Street, and they're just talking about it after work, and you know, it's just spreading. So yeah, so that's what I reckon.
Well, if anyone there from Goldman Sachs is listening to the show now, you know where to contact for good staff. You go to Crypto Recruit and you look up Neil.
Thanks for the plug. Yeah.
No problem at all. So, look, from the space at the moment, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of interest. We know that the general public is starting to, if they don't know what crypto assets or blockchain is, they are more aware of the Bitcoin, the Ethereums of the world now. We are seeing that understanding, at least for the word cryptocurrency, which I'm trying to educate people to go beyond the word cryptocurrency and look at crypto assets, because there's a lot more than just currency that we can, that will benefit from the blockchain. With your position now, I mean, the sort of placements that you're having, because I imagine for a bit of a chunk, Neil, that there may still be, you're still trying to connect the dots. I would guess that that there are a lot of people that want jobs, and there are a lot of people that need roles fulfilled. How are you finding the connecting of the dots? Is it simple now, or are you still sort of crafting and creating the framework to then make it a fairly straightforward process?
Yeah, good question. Look, recruiting as a profession, it's not the sexiest of industries, and it's tough work. There's no question about it. Even though blockchain is going nuts at the moment and exponential in terms of how it's spreading, recruiting in the space is still a tough job, but it can absolutely pay off well, and we have that first mover advantage. So we are grinding it out in terms of, it's back to basics for us, finding clients that are looking to hire, finding candidates that are looking to move into the space, and connecting those two. That's in principle how it works, absolutely. But there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes for that. You will find a lot of the blockchain projects don't like to use recruiters because they're kind of the founders are often developers, and for some reason we find a little pushback sometimes in terms of using recruiters, which I don't understand, because these projects have raised 30, 40, 50 million dollars to me, and not being biased in favor of using a recruiter. I use recruiters myself as a recruiter. I pay other recruiters to find me staff, because if I have a seat there that's not been filled, sometimes it could be sitting there for 3 to 6 months. It's going to cost me a lot more than our minimal recruiter fee. So good businesses. It's funny, the good crypto projects out there, and we work with some of the leading, the ones that you'll see in the top 50 there. They're the ones that use recruiters. It's interesting to see that. There are other projects who stand firm and don't want to use them, but there's such a supply shortage of talent out there that the companies who get the talent quickest, or they're the ones that are going to do the best, because it's drying up. There's a lot of education in the space in terms of getting, Solidity developers and Ethereum-based EOS developers, whatever it is, getting them trained up to do these jobs. But that can take 6 to 12 months before they come out. So right now, good projects should try and get that talent bedded into their projects as early as possible. So yeah, look, it's a job. It's not straightforward. Having said that, there's a lot of demand out there, so it is just a case of getting out there and finding the talent for these projects.
And look, at the end of the day, I mean, one of the biggest things when you've got a team, as you very well know, Neil, is that it's not just about having somebody in the seat. It's about having somebody that's going to be the best match for that seat. Now, if you're going to put an ad on Seek or whatever people do, go on LinkedIn searching for people, that's one way of doing it, sure. And you know what? Even at 30, you can fly in a hurricane. You might actually find somebody that's going to fit the seat perfectly. But when it comes to doing business properly, time is of the essence. We cannot have any more time. The more people that you have in the right seat for the longest period of time, if it's the right person, it saves you money and it makes you money. It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. Look, you're not going to find staff for blockchain projects when putting an ad on Seek or Monster or Indeed or any of these jobs. Look, you could get lucky. It's highly unlikely. This is, for recruiters, this is a very proactive approach. You need to go find these people. The value that we add, like I say, first of all, time is the most important thing here, because these projects have all the money in the world that they've raised from their ICOs. So money's not the problem. It's about getting the staff, and time is what matters here, getting them quickly. So it's a case of getting out there, getting on the market, using a recruiter, which what we do is we do more than just go find these candidates. We actually have to sell the projects to the candidates, because the developers, the good quality ones, they don't want to just work for any project. They want to work for a project that has a meaning, that has something in it that will satisfy what they want to do as a developer. Where we come in is we can liaise with both sides, both parties here, and sell that project to the candidate in the best light possible. Ultimately, the candidate has to come back and go, yep, that's something I want to work for. But that's the service we provide, and that's what people are paying for, really,
So, that being said, that's quite an interesting little angle that you've just brought up there, mate. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you're needing to, as you've just said, if you've got a project, let's say, and they say, look, we need X, Y, Z, and you've got to fill 3 roles. You then need to go out there, put your fingers in the pie, try and find these individuals. Now, because you're having to learn how to pitch these particular businesses, these ICOs, or if they're off the ground, whatever it may be, are you finding some great opportunities because you're at the coalface with the business owners or managers of the business and having to pitch it?
Well, so in terms of investing opportunities potentially, yeah. That's a good point. So that's actually one of the advantages of working over here. Well, we do get in at the coalface. We get in early stage. I've got numerous projects at the moment that are at concept stage before they even have a website, but planning to do interesting projects. Now, I wish I had more time to actually put into scoping out how good these projects are. So if anyone out there is listening and wants to chat about, reading white papers or investing in some of these, or even yourself, more than happy to partner up there, because we do get in early stage. Some of them talk to us about trying to raise funds for them if we can. It's all stuff as recruiters, we get the connections to do, but we do need to stay hyper-focused on what we do, which is finding staff. I mean, that's just one small piece of the whole puzzle, but it's a very important piece of it, and we have to stay hyper-focused on that. Otherwise, you know what it's like, Craig, you've not enough hours in a day. I hate that phrase, but it's so true in this industry, right? You can't get everything done.
Oh, mate, you're absolutely right. I mean, I can't argue with that. We're constantly we've got to create time, and having the right stuff helps with that. Funnily enough, and I'm speaking to the guy for that. So that's fantastic, because it is a perk. Look, people that get into different roles and different jobs, there are perks. If you go and work for one of the big airlines, you'll fly first class when you go to New York. When there are perks to different roles, and I guess people need to consider this. And one of the things I find really interesting from my point of view is I got friends that are working in the city of London. I got friends that are working in the city of Sydney. They're investment banking roles, and I've had conversations with these guys and girls about blockchain, about the marketplace, and about what I think it's going to do. And even these young people, some of them late 20s. When I say young, I mean young in their career, but and far enough into their career that they've actually got a decent role and they're doing well. And I say to them, look, you guys should really be focusing on at least getting an understanding for this space, because this is the next frontier. If you're the first person in your firm and you're the expert in your firm, well, you're not going to get a promotion like you're going to get if you're the guy they turn to. There's no other way apart from years and years and years of experience, or you writing some sort of quant algorithm that the trading floor operates with extraordinary perfection. There's not many other ways to get recruited at such a rate, or put up the ladder at such a rate as what you can if you are one of the only people that have got an insider understanding of an industry. And I think that a lot of professionals in the space, like I've adapted to this space as a trader, and it's not taken very long from my point of view. Of course, I'm not a coder. I'm not anything like this. I'm a voice. I'm a commentator. I'm a trader. That's what I do. But it doesn't take much. Once you dip your toe in the water and you start to unlock some of the potential that's there in this space, it grows on you like a. I was thinking it grows on you very, very quickly, and you can't help but get passionate. And when that passion comes, you don't really need to work. You're always busy in the space, but a lot of the time, I feel like I'm just sort of flying from one thing to the next. I've never done more with my time in my life, but I've never enjoyed it more, because I truly believe, and there's so much potential here. It's incredible.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Like, what you're talking about is first mover advantage, and it doesn't have to be the CEO or the co-founder of an ICO, or it can be anyone at any level in blockchain, moving in as a customer service person or as, a community manager. As long as you get your foot in that door, you get this exponential advantage. You become a subject matter expert quickly in 3 months. It's like 3 months working in this industry is equivalent to 3 years working in traditional industry. You've got that relative amount of knowledge more than the next person. So, it's really about just taking a step to get into the industry. It's tough in some cases. We can't help everyone. We get a lot of candidates coming through to us. We're the type of people like people love to hate or hate to love, because we can't please everyone. We can, otherwise, our job really is to filter for our clients. They pay us a fee so that they don't have to deal with all the noise that comes through. So we do apologize in advance for people coming through if we can't help you all, but you come onto our books, and as the industry grows, there will be opportunities for everyone. People just have to stick at it and get in the door. But you're right. Once you're in, it's all encapsulating, isn't it? It just takes over.
It does. I mean, look, I talk a lot about taking responsibility through all of my education, through all of my podcasts. I mean, if somebody comes in and they're looking for a job in blockchain and then they don't get it straight away through you, then suck it up, get going, keep moving. There's no excuses. Cut the crap and just get on with it. There's, success is up to you. It's not up to anybody else. If you've got a third party that you're relying on, then you're going about it all wrong. So yeah, it's good to have stepping stones. You can help with that. Everyone needs to take responsibility for their actions.
No, you're right. We're right. We're here to help, and if we don't have a job for you now, it doesn't mean we don't have a job in 6 weeks or 2 months. It's just a case of keeping us on the radar, and also, more importantly, like you say, taking control of yourself and taking those steps to get your foot in the door.
I agree. So talking about, I just sort of went into a little chat about, my friends that are professionals that I'm suggesting they should look into getting into blockchain. I mean, for anybody there who's listening to the show right now who's thinking, yeah, look, I've heard about crypto, I'm interested in the space, I'm investing in it, I'm trading it, whatever they may be doing, and I think, well, you know what, I'd actually love to be more involved in the space because, if I can get a job where I get paid and I pay my bills and I'm involved in the space, it's a tick, it's a win-win, and I am someone in an industry of a first mover advantage to a certain extent. So the question really comes down to a lot of these people about money. Are we seeing in the space at the moment that there are some deep pockets, or is it more about you just sort of, it's a trade-off of you might not get as much money, but you will become a first mover advantage, and therefore as the space grows, so too will your earning potential? I mean, where are we there?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Actually, the money is higher in blockchain than it is in the traditional space. So contrary to what some people might believe, oh, it's a new industry, maybe, I need to take a hit to get into it, but that's not true. If companies and blockchain projects will be hyper focused on what they actually need, so they will have a set criteria and skill set they need to take on, and they will pay more if they get that skill set. So candidates and people looking to move to work in the industry need to take it from a reverse marketing perspective. They need to look at themselves. How will they add value to a blockchain or crypto project, and then sell themselves on that? There's no point just coming to a recruiter like me and going, hey, I've worked at Westpac for 3 years. Have you got any opportunities for me? That doesn't help me. I've got this. I can go to LinkedIn and find 10,000 people who've worked at Westpac for 3 years. What I need are the sharp-minded people coming to me going, I've worked at Westpac, I've worked in a community management role, and this is why I can add value to blockchain projects, A, B, or C, based in Sydney or whatever. That's what I need to see. So it's important that, and if I get that, then I can use that, and these projects will pay more than they would probably at a Westpac, because they've raised a fortune. I mean, you and I both know how much money is floating around this industry. I mean, I think there was $4 billion raised last year in ICOs, more than IPOs. So there's no question the money's there. And these projects really should be spending it. If they are legit projects, they should be spending it on their staff and developers. It always amazes me how many projects out there have raised 30, 20, 30, 40 million. And it's easy to find out that they've only got 4 or 5 staff in the businesses. I'm always wary of projects like that. If you've raised 30 or 40 million, surely you should be hiring staff and at least putting a good face on it and trying,
Well, absolutely, because once they've raised, I mean, the ICO is one part, then it's execution of the concept. I mean, at the end of the day, projects lose momentum very, very quickly if they lose momentum. And the only way to lose momentum is by not to execute. To execute, you need to have the right people in the right market so that you can actually get your foot in the door and get things moving forward. And without good staff, you're really just stumbling along and you're going to fall over.
Absolutely. And it's happening on a lot. There's a lot of projects out there who just aren't hiring. I see it. I'm amazed by it. Look, if there's projects out there that need help, we offer more than just search and selection of candidates. We know how projects recruit. So we can help from that perspective. We can take a much more macro view on what a project needs to do in terms of their staff. I'm assuming the founders know that already, but sometimes they just don't know, maybe their sectors, like maybe they're not that good at marketing or maybe they're not that good at finance. Well, we can chip in there and help and advise kind of on what the good projects do in those areas in terms of recruiting. So the conversation can be more than just finding one candidate because you've given us a spec. It can be more of a business-minded discussion where we actually help them build their projects out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I suppose one of the main points for those that are listening and considering this, one of the things you brought up was, sort of come with a bit of a plan that's going to help you. So there's a puzzle out there. There's a jigsaw puzzle that's got pieces that are missing. You need to come to someone like Neil, come into the market and go, right, here's my area of expertise and here's where I think I can help. Now, some of you won't know how to because you'll be like, okay, blockchain, it's a word, I know nothing more, but I'd like to get involved. And that, if that's the case, fine, then, Neil will help out. But the people that know what's going on, they go, look, here are my skills and here's my expertise and I could help with blah, blah, blah. You're actually coming with the right piece to fit that jigsaw puzzle. Now, whether that piece is there needing or lacking in a project or not, well, Neil can help with that.
Absolutely. No, you've hit the nail on the head there. Even to go a step further, they could nominate 3 or 4 projects in Australia that they'd like to work for. There's nothing but, and we have the connections, so they can come to us, sell themselves to us, point format, why they're right for these projects, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Simplifies us. The thing about it is we're all time poor, so make our life simple. Tell us some projects you'd like to work for. We can reach out to those. Nothing more than the founder of a project is gonna love than me talking to them about a candidate who has identified that project that they want to work for because they believe in it for whatever reasons. That's going to be music to a founder's ears.
Of course, yeah. So, mate, what does the space hold for? There's two things really. What do you see of crypto this year, and how? What do you see of Crypto Recruit? Obviously, as the space grows, so too will your footprint, so too will the industry and your business. What's exciting for you this year from your point of view, both for the space and for Crypto Recruit?
Yeah, so we just keeping the heads down, working with these projects. There's 1,800 new cryptocurrencies now, so that's all the work that we can handle. It's really interesting to see the market, how it's been performing over the last 4 months. It seems to be finding some support now, which is great. And these projects are, the projects themselves, the smart ones anyway, are just focusing on building out their projects at the moment and hiring staff. So I see this year being extremely busy for recruiting, for building out the projects. They've all did their ICOs last year and the first quarter this year, and no doubt there'll be plenty more ICOs. But there's so much going on there that the demand for staff is going to be huge this year. So we need all the help and recruiters that we can get on our team as well to join us to help do that.
So you need more staff, more recruiters on your side as well as?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a very specific business model here where the recruiter effectively is running their own business but operating under this brand. So we do work very collaboratively as a team. But people who want to consider joining us will come in, effectively run their own show, work remotely, although we potentially are looking at offices in Sydney. But it is a remote hire because we can do everything through Skype, et cetera, and we all work together on our own internal Telegram groups, et cetera, and we communicate that way. So absolutely, we need recruiters. So people who are natural networkers, maybe a bit of a sales background, are hungry, determined, know how to use things like LinkedIn. It's not that difficult. It's just reaching out. It's because it's a busy role. So we definitely need those people. If there's anyone listening, please get in touch with us because they can be based anywhere in the world. Yeah,
okay, that was my next question. Well, mate, look, that's pretty awesome. Look, I've sort of covered what I wanted to do. What I find really fascinating, Neil, is that for the listeners out there, I talk to a lot of different projects. I talk to different fund managers, celebrities in the space, influencers, all sorts of different people from different walks of life. I've never covered this angle, and I find it truly fascinating because without somebody like you and without the recruiters, you're not really getting the staff. And look, for these projects in this space to grow, we need to have the right people in the right seats. So we've seen that a lot of press. Obviously, I mentioned the Goldman Sachs thing earlier, and we talked of earlier. Sorry, I have been speaking earlier in the year about the massive brain drain from Silicon Valley to blockchain. Right, it's an incredible time to be alive. The space is thriving. I'm actually off to New York for Consensus, and it's going to just probably blow my mind out even further. But it's really, really an interesting perspective to hear your perspective. And I mean, to sort of wrap things up now, what would people? So let's say people have been listening. They think that they got their whistle wet. They think, all right, I might actually look to get into this. Apologies in advance if you get bombarded with requests, Neil. But what would somebody do? How do they get in contact with you, mate, with Crypto Recruit?
Yeah, look, the more requests, the better. So more than happy to speak at them. Look, the best thing is probably just pop me an email, Neil, Neil at cryptorecruit.com. So no.au, it's just .com. Or they can jump on our Facebook page and Twitter. So just search for us, you'll find us pretty easy. But if, like I said earlier, if somebody has a specific job they want to do or project they want to work on, they can let me know and an email to me, or go on our website and have a look at the jobs that we already have there. Just feel free, to reach out. If anybody wants to be a recruiter, just mention that, because like I said, we're definitely looking for more recruiters to come on board. So people who just want to work in this space. It's a great entry point into blockchain to become a recruiter in the space, because you get a very bird's eye view of how the projects work. You get to talk to senior execs in these businesses. So it's exciting from that perspective. And it is quite an easy entry point into blockchain. Like I said, there's just a huge amount going on. It's so exciting at the moment that being in touch with all these projects is very interesting. So, feel free to reach out to those mediums.
Reach out. Well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, all the listeners out there, it's been an absolute pleasure having Neil on board. Guys, listen, I want to say one thing, I'm talking about trading often. I'm talking about the markets often. Don't say I don't do anything for you, because I've just given you the opportunity to get a job in the space. Yeah. Whether it be recruiting, whether it be, something else that you can add to the environment. As you know, the Trader Cobb Crypto Show is a diverse show. It's to cover everything in the space and beyond, and to give you guys as many opportunities to learn, grow, and become a valued member of this exciting community that is crypto asset space. So thank you so much, Neil Dundon of Crypto Recruit. Guys, as you heard, jump online, Crypto Recruit, Neil at cryptorecruit.com if you want to find out more information. Thanks very much for being on the show, Neil.
Thanks, Greg. Make sure you say hello to Anthony at Consensus. He's one of our team members. He's heading over as well. But appreciate your time.
Good stuff. I'll corner him and I'll annoy him.
Fantastic. Okay. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Neil. Bye-bye.
The Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast. Check out tradercobb.com, because experience matters.